We're following up with legal experts and California Attorney General Rob Bonta tonight. The AG facing several questions after his campaign spent nearly $500,000 on legal help amid a federal bribery investigation. KCRA 3 political director Ashley Zavala was the first to report this and why some say the use of the money may be against the law. Ashley?
Lisa, after pushing for answers, we're getting a little more clarity when it comes to the $468,000 that Attorney General Rob Bonta spent from his re-election campaign on legal services and fees. His campaign clarifying tonight that this money was used for him to lawyer up as he faced questions from federal authorities. We're also learning tonight this is a historic amount of money spent on legal services by a candidate in California, not just for Attorney General, but for any statewide constitutional office here in the state. Bonta's campaign told us at first the money was to help federal authorities in their bribery investigation in the East Bay, which involved Oakland's ex-mayor and the Duong family, which were also Bonta's donors. I followed up with his campaign today with several questions, including confirmation that the law firm he paid was representing him as he answered questions from federal investigators. His campaign has confirmed. His advisor, Dan Newman, said he was not a target in the investigation, that he was just providing information, and that's what the attorneys were for. Newman keeps saying that the ongoing investigation, they can't say much because, again, it is ongoing, but at the same time, he told me today that Bonta's role in that investigation is over. Another question in all of this is it legal? Is this a permissible use of campaign funds in California? Bonta's advisor said this was absolutely proper and necessary to use the funds because of the nature of the charges against the people implicated in that Oakland bribery probe. I checked in with Loyola Law School professor Jessica Levinson, who noted campaign legal expenses are meant to be related directly to the campaign itself. Typically, that money is used, for example, to request a recount in an election or to litigate how a candidate's name or title is seen on the ballot. Here's what she had to say when it comes to Bonta's situation.
In this case, the only connection that I can see right now between the AG's election and the legal investigation and proceedings would be whether or not the investigation initially began with questions about the Duong's donations to the AG account. What you would need in order to be able to draw that legal line between the political account, the committee to run to be AG, and these big legal expenses is some connection between that account, the reason that Bonta is running to be AG, and the legal expenses. In this case, I think the best argument that Bonta could make for how these expenses would be permissible is to say that the investigation and or questions originally began based on the Duong's campaign donations to that AG account.
So on that note, David and Andy Duong were indicted during that federal probe. Together, they donated $24,300 to just Bonta's re-election campaign for 2026. The Duong family donated $155,000 total to him throughout his political career. Bonta's campaign noting all of that money was returned after the investigation was made public in Oakland earlier this year.
But just talking about the $500,000
Yes.
in legal fees, that's a lot of money, all of it just to have attorneys by your side as you're answering questions. I would think that would be what it would cost maybe to do a whole trial, but that's a lot of money.
Right, it is, and that's at the center of why we're asking so many questions, and we keep following up with this campaign. And I really cannot get a straight answer here behind that dollar amount. What Bonta's campaign did confirm is that the funds are not related to anything else or any other issues. His advisor said this was not settlement money or anything like that. But again, we still have a lot of questions just related to this whole situation, how they went from saying this was to help the investigation in his capacity, but then now they're changing their story essentially today to say that this was for him to lawyer up.
All right, Ashley, thank you.